Ah! Sound of me being unfit. Beautiful music from Pedro Camacho. I don't know why I just closed that tab where music's playing. Don't play it again. No. No. I like it, Pedro. No, bad YouTube. It's not my fault. It's the YouTube playlist's fault. Always diminish your own responsibility. First thing I learned as a YouTuber. Which button shall I press? This one. Boom. Hey. How's it going? How's everyone doing? I had to check to see if my headphones were working. I feel about 1,000 times better than I did on the weekend. I was ill as fuck on Friday, Saturday. I felt a lot better on Sunday, and I feel like a human being now. But yeah, how's people doing? How they? Yeah. Thanks for all the love. Very much appreciated. Thanks for the. I've had a couple of Patreons. Dog 7, Outlaw Shambles, you're all people, Murphy, Elite, Patrol, Afterman, you're all legendary people that have subbed or Patreoned over the last couple of days. So thank you very much appreciated for that. Is this real life? Yes. What's up? No. Is my volume okay? I have screwed around with my mic a little bit. Because we were playing some VR on Sunday. Please tell me that the new build is live on the Persistent Universe. Every back hit here, so that I can try that you focus. What is this broken English? I'm sorry if English is not your first language, or if you just sort of like splashed on the keyboard with your hands. So at the moment, the 3.6.0 LPTU is on it was just one of my old university friends. Chat in bit. One of my One of my old university mates has messaged me because I messaged his office for some CD key game. He was like, "Why are you hassling my team for CD keys?" Didn't realise he was working there. How random. Yeah, sorry. What was I saying? I went off on a weird tangent. So, Star Citizen 3.6.0 PTU L got rolled back from the M build because the M build was really crashy and unstable. So we're currently on the L build. It is Wave 1 PTU at the moment. We're hoping for a Wave 2 PTU ASAP. But we're also waiting, hoping that the patch is, you know, not broken. That's the other thing. And we'll talk a lot more about 3.6 in a minute. We can play some as well and just float about because the L patch is relatively stable. Nuggets in there with the crime system, with crypto chippy mabob hacking, with hover and VTOL. Did you get your CitizenCon tickets? Yes. Get a booth so I can say hi. I'm more likely to be able to say hi to people without a booth. I have 3 other people, 3 other like groups that are either getting booths or trying to get booths. I'm not sure which. Maybe they're just trying to get them. Have all asked me if I can be part of their booth. I was like, but for what purpose would I be part of your booth? Like, just be there, like as a circus freak that people can prod. Oh, they've got BoredGamer as well. I like the bearded gamer. I don't know. I don't understand the appeal. But I can wander around without a booth and just say hello to people. Do meet and greets and stuff, maybe. Have I got enough following to people that want to meet and greet me? Yeah, so the L build's significantly more stable than the M build was, which is good. My cat would never attack me. Shall we refer to the Vanguard as the Nerf bat until CIG gives more firepower? So, Ted, the Vanguards are getting some changes. So, you've seen the base loadouts in 3.6 in the PTU, but you're going to be able to change some of those nose guns off. You're going to be able to change the turret weapons. You're going to be able to change the other weapons and stuff. So, you potentially can make it very powerful. We just need to know, really, it's a little bit beholden to the bespoke or specialized nose mounts. What do we get? What weapons do we get there? Can we get some very powerful ones? Or is it all going to be sort of like moderately okay ones? Because the Vanguard's supposed to be this heavy fighter, and it's supposed to be long range and powerful, and, you know, it needs to find its place in the verse. And it hopefully will with the rework, but obviously we need the custom. You wax your head. No, it is naturally this shiny. Can we expect laser targeting from ground forces that transmit data to ships and orbits or bombers in the same way cruise missiles getting targeted as part of team gameplay? So, they haven't really talked much about that. They have said that if weapons have got enough range or whatever, you will be able to shoot down from orbit down to planet surfaces. Pew, 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 pew. That recently on the Star Citizen Live. All about ships. So, I expect... and they've sort of like, they've briefly talked about targets working together, sharing information, targeting data, that sort of stuff, being shareable-ish. That was quite a long time ago. So I expect that you'll be able to work together to target things. I suspect you'll be able to share that data with other ships in some way. So yeah, maybe laser targeting on the ground, allowing you to bombard from orbit, but you'd have to get onto the ground, you'd have to get there, or whatever. Or maybe... other ground vehicles helping and communicating, targeting information above, and maybe sort of like ships all being able to target and share data via communications networks. And maybe those things can also be disrupted. I mean, that's a lot of theorycraft there, but it's theorycraft based on, well, it makes sense that you'll be able to share sensor data. Otherwise, it's just loads of ships that are part of a fleet that can't share sensor data. That doesn't really make much sense. So I'm expecting those sort of gameplay mechanics in the future. Obviously, they're trying to sort the core of the game out first. But I suppose that's quite important still, the sharing of data, the sharing of targeting stuff, the organization of fleets, being able to share that data. When will this game be fully released? So Squadron 42 Episode 1, which is a single-player campaign, that has a... Well, let me actually show you a roadmap. stop here. Assuming that stop, it does. I spilt a whole fucking cup of water all over my monitors and my keyboard and some of my PC, and while I was playing VR, which was really annoying. Fortunately, nothing has exploded. So at the moment, they are en route to trying to get Squadron 42 Episode 1 in a feature complete beta by Q2 2020. So in a year. And that, if they meet that, they could potentially release in. So, Squadron 42, rough guesstimate date, with Star Citizen, Distant Universe, which is effectively a different game, but is the MMO portion. Depends whether you're going for the single-player Squadron 42 or Star Citizen or both. When you get certain stages in Squadron 42, you will unlock the ability to purchase things in Star Citizen in the player game, or sort of like it will fill out more information, you know, sort of like your diary and that sort of stuff. So you'll be able to go, oh, I'm able to buy a F8 Lightning in game now, the civilian version of that heavy fighter, stuff like that. I suspect you'll be able to get them in game other ways as well if you don't play Squadron 42, but that's been a confirmed way to get some of the military gear. But with Star Citizen and the Persistent Universe, they are releasing a major update every 3 months or so. And I say every 3 months or so because we're still waiting on the 3.6 release, which was supposed to be released live last week, but is still in the PTU phase. Not even open PTU yet. So they do slip up with some of those timed release schedules and stuff like that, but typically it's not by much. It is alpha, so expect them to make mistakes and stuff to get broken in some patches, fixed in others. Moving sort of like to the medium-term future, by the time they get Squadron 42 Episode 1 out, that should be the core of the game done for Star Citizen and Squadron 42. Well, obviously, releasing it. But Star Citizen's Persistent Universe as well. And then that should be a much better platform for more stable releases. Once they have full persistence and server-side object container streaming in, which they are currently testing internally, then they may move on to a no more resets model. So, at the moment, every 3 months, everything's reset as well. But they're planning to have it fully persistent. There might be a reset when they hit beta. There might be a reset when they hit live. But you're not going to see anything like even similar to a beta, which would be feature complete until the end of like 2022. At this point with Star Citizen's Persistent Universe. There's so many features and stuff they've already announced. You could get a very playable version of it with no more resets probably by the end of maybe 2020 at the like super optimistic state, but that's only going to be a fraction of the systems and the gameplay and that sort of stuff. But it'll be playable. It'll just be very early stage. And at the moment, it's very sort of like your feedback helps shape the game. It's all sort of like testing and working out what's right for the game when it comes to like the flight model and bugs and the physics grids, and it's much more raw. But it's still important. It's very much for testing. It's very much an alpha at the moment. Bang. Would you like to speculate on when we'd like to see... Would you speculate on when you would expect to see Wave 2 CitizenCon tickets go on sale? End of the month. That's when I would expect Wave 2 CitizenCon tickets. RSI Mantis Discord leak. Okay, we can talk about the Mantis if you want. So there's been a bit of information on an RSI Mantis. The leaks Discord has come up with some information. And they say that it's going to be a 30-meter heavy fighter from RSI, and apparently it's going to potentially be released around CitizenCon. Is very possible. That sort of makes sense, even though it's the Anvil Expo at CitizenCon. It's very possible that they'll have some Anvil ships or Anvil, like the Anvil Illuster or whatever, or maybe some other ships, as well as this RSI Mantis. And a heavy fighter from RSI kind of makes sense. RSI don't really have any fighters. Heavy fighter don't really have much in the way of heavy dogfighters in the game at the moment. We've got some medium ones. We've got the Vanguard, which remains to be seen where it sort of fits in. Thank you very much, Bill DK, for resubbing. Very much appreciated. Love your face. But yeah, so I can't confirm anything about the RSI Mantis because I don't have a source for it beyond rumors. Discord leak, yeah, they say they've got that. Cool. That's the source for it at the moment. Can't confirm that because I don't know. Could be literally just a rumor. Is it out to wider PTU? Yeah, it's Wave 1 PTU, but that's just Evocati subscribers and concierge for 3.6 of them. You start making a fuss about javelins having no weapons. It's the Idris hot weapon kit, and we have Kraken. I suspect that the javelin will have stock items. Just very, very low-grade stock items. Even the civilian one. Originally, the concept basically said, yeah, it's going to be a shell of a ship, and you'll work to getting those systems and stuff. And I suspect that's sort of true, but I do suspect they will have systems and weapons, the trashiest, lowest level ones, to allow you to at least fly it. Entry level. Thank you very much, Owen, for the super chatty monies. Check your voice settings, mate. Your voice cuts out sometimes. Bloody people. I apologize for my voice cutting out. Let me... Is that okay? That should cut out less if it was cutting out before. Apologies. What I like. People giving me money to tell me that my voice is cutting out. Sly-Fi, thank you very much for the sub. Very much appreciated. Do you think 3.7 and 3.8 will be delayed as well? Potentially, we could have delays on 3.7, 3.8. They're going to try and catch up on that. They're going to try and release 3.7 and 3.8 on time because they want the live builds out at the end of, looks like the end of September for 3.7 and the end of, or middle of December before they all go off on holidays. It's possible that they'll be open PTU rather than actually launched, but it's also more possible now that anything that's not ready for the build will just get cut and they'll go live with a stable build of what they've got. So, attachments-wise, we are supposed to be getting attachments in 3.6 for weapons, and this will have the ability to put scopes and optics on your weapons, but that's pretty much it. So you'll be able to get a gun, put a scope, or like a different sight on it. That will be in 3.6 at some point. Not all the features are in the PTU at the moment. Eventually, we'll be able to customize weapons a lot more, I believe, with skins, but also underbarrel, barrel, and magazine customizations as well. Is the current PTU buggy as fuck? No, so they rolled back the super buggy build, so it's not so bad. Nice outfit, thank you very much. My fashion advisor, Robert Johnston, picked it out for me. Which ground vehicles will the Mercury be able to carry? Don't know. Don't know until it's closer to being built out. Do you know what was wrong with the patch that they rolled back from? I can tell you at a more sort of like high level reason. It was too crashy. Lots of 30k areas and too crashy. Any news on the RSI Mantas? No, beyond what they've talked about roughly for on the leaks Discord, just saying it's going to be a 30-meter RSI heavy fighter and probably going to be released at CitizenCon. I don't know anything about it. I only know that, and that could just be based on rumor. So set expectations accordingly. Any word on aerodynamics or lifting bodies? Any dynamic lift yet? Lift is sort of in there to some degree, because the way you hover down, when you've turned off your thrusters, when you've throttled down your thrusters, you used to do sort of like glide-ish. It's not great at the moment. I mean, it needs a lot of tweaking. Beard is really working for you, Bored. Thank you very much. I do have a beautiful face. Thank you. What's my least favourite ship in Star Citizen? The Reliant. Do not like the Reliant. Dr. Gecko 22, thank you very much for the sub. Very much appreciated. Will they be having full planets in Squadron 42 like in the Persistent Universe? Potentially. So it depends on where Squadron 42 is set. We know it's going to be in the Odin system. We've seen Gaini 1A, which is the moon they literally land on in Squadron 42 Vertical Slice. I would expect to see planets or other moons and lots of other landing locations, yes. But unconfirmed, because we don't 100% know. On the 3.6 LPTU, there is bullet drop when shooting long range. For what I remember, it is not on 3.5 and not in the patch notes. Do you have any information? Can you investigate? We can have a look at it more. I thought there was some bullet drop. 3.5.1 with some of the weapons. I don't know. I know there's obviously the ballistics manager can do some cool stuff now. I'll have a look. I think Wave 2 come out while I was busy. Is that what's happened? Ba 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 ba. Looks like still Wave 1 to me. Still saying Wave 1 here. It's very possible we could get Wave 2 out today, though. Am I no longer cutting out? That's what I'm hoping. Do you think the ships we're pledging for now, i.e. the Polaris and Javelin, will fall behind the power curve as time goes on and CIG creates additional ships after release? So, JP, that is a very good question. I would hope not and wouldn't expect so. However, it is definitely something that you should all remain vigilant on to make sure CIG, because they're more than welcome, in my opinion, to continue making concept ships and new ships fully after release, and I don't even mind them selling them for money, so you get them at the earliest possible stage or whatever. But they can't just be more powerful versions of ships. They can't just be more and more powerful constantly. Like, oh, this is a slightly better heavy fighter than the last one that we released. So there needs to be ships and choices and customization and best fits for certain situations and things, but they can't just be better. They need to fill different holes. So, good question though. What am I looking forward to most in 3.6? It having the gameplay loops that were in 3.4 fixed, so that I can play group play sessions easily without having to faff around too much. I want to be able to sit down and just jump in with people and play Star Citizen for a good few hours without problems. Now, that might be a little bit too optimistic for 3.6, but that's genuinely all I'm looking forward to the most. If you want specific feature, the lore and black market systems, that's a huge amount of gameplay. Looking forward to RSI implementing loot boxes into the game. Lol. No, I never loot boxes. If they ever do some sort of loot boxy type thing, it'll probably be it'll be something for like Arena Commander or Star Marine, and it will be a loot box that you buy with in-game money within the game as a sort of like joke about loot boxes. Or they might do it as like an April Fool's. Restops look amazing. Can't wait for the reworked interiors. Yeah, they are pretty sweet. When I finish these sort of questions, what I'll do is I'll jump in and sort of like casually fly around the verse while chatting. How long do you think it will take to develop? To 3-point that AI will be effective for a ship to crew. So if you're talking about NPC crews for player ships, we don't know. They need to finish the current sort of AI, and then they need to simulate AI because they want to have some AI physicalized based on distance to the player, but the rest simulated. So, for example, when you've got an Idris, they only need to physicalize AI that are directly being viewed by players. The rest can just be simulated, and they're going to need to do stuff like that for just the amount of AI and NPCs and players that are around for the servers, because they are going to have lots of restrictions there. It's sort of all going to be based on how many players can we get in game. Is going to be heavily based on how many how efficient they can get their servers and how efficient they can get their code and everything. But it will be after Squadron 42's release. Don't know how long after. It could be end of next year. Could be in a couple of years. Any idea what the subscribership for July could be? I believe it's the Vanguard, isn't it? In work at the moment, do we know when the scanning is being updated to the rear seat of the Terrapins actually do something useful? We know that they're working on deeper scanning tech. It's actually one of their priorities, but we don't know when the Terrapin's going to have better function. Considering causality and the paradoxical nature of choicelessness, to what extent do you shape your own destiny, and how much is down to fate? Well, I would say that there's not really fate. And you can interpret things however the fuck you want. That's the joy of being conscious and aware, and being human. As you can decide, you can choose to be happy, you can choose to interpret things that make you happy and to make you not bored or whatever. And there's a lot of choice going on there. Obviously, there's things that prevent you from doing that. There's things that make you feel shitty. I suffer from bipolar disorder, so I'm very, very erratic when it comes to stuff like that. And I understand that there is proper depression, but you know, human, you have a huge amount of choice and variety of how you interpret. Hope that answered your question from my point of view anyway, Pork Wolfles. Where does that subscribe audio notification come from? It sounds like you're saying Trixie Little Hobbitses. Yes, it's me saying Trixie Little Hobbitses. A 30-meter RSI heavy fighter, that's barely larger than the 300 series. That'll be broken. So very broken. What? Why? Why would that be broken? What? I'm not able to get into the PTU server. Should I delete and add my account back to try and fix it? What's the problem you're having? You can recopy if you want. Do you think the required specs to run Star Citizen will change as the game goes live? I mean, it's getting more sort of like normalized on lower end computers as the development goes on. It's not optimized by any means and won't be until a bit later on. They're going to like integrate Vulkan stuff, and there's a huge amount of optimizations. A lot of that optimization might come when Squadron 42 beta is sort of like around that stage, because represents the engine being built up and appropriate for their needs and optimized. So I would expect Star Citizen to be more scalable to both ends as the development moves forwards. Do they give you a VIP CitizenCon ticket, or do you have to play F5 wars like the rest of us? I don't believe there are VIP tickets to CitizenCon. There was just one type of ticket this time, which is much better. I'm not actually a fan of elitism at all, even though I do buy ships like the 890 Jump because I'm a fucking idiot. And no, I wasn't given any special treatment. I had F5 wars like the rest of other people. I got them in the second batch. Bam, bam, bam. It was F5 wars. Control F5 wars. Loving the Get Up Commodore board. What's going on with the missing launch button? Anyone else experiencing that? Have you got the latest latest update, latest patch updater thing, Majig? See if I can actually load it into game. Are we? How many more systems need to be completed before mass-producing systems with their procedural tech? That is semi-open-ended question. So, when it comes to the building of systems, that's no real difference than the building of just planets. If you see what I mean? They need the jump points, which I think we'll see at CitizenCon, but I don't know. And I think we will see a new system next year. But it's going to be to do when they have their sort of like tech and procedural tech pipelines for all the different biomes and all the different structures and buildings, then they can just rapidly build those areas out. Now, they will get to areas where they're like, oh, well, we can't rapidly build this section out because we don't have the Banu Alien City tech yet, or the pipeline stuff, the assets for it. And the same with the Vandal, the same with some of the other systems. Or some planets like Terra need a huge amount of bespoke work. So once they complete the Stanton system, I'm thinking they'll go towards Pyro Nix and then towards the Odin system. Because the Odin system's being built for Squadron 42, so it will be at least partly done. But you could start to see more systems next year, and I'm suspecting that we'll have quite a lot being able to be pumped out the year after that. Do you think we'll see an update to server-side object container streaming? And do you think we'll see a Carrack released before or near 4.0? The plan is to have the Carrack released with 3.8, and I suspect we'll see the Carrack potentially at CitizenCon again. And server-side object container streaming, and I believe full persistence, which is tied to that, that's being tested internally at the moment, and they apparently successfully completed those tests. So that could be by the end of the year. I mean, it might be further off than that, but then they start working on server meshing. Well, these are all prerequisites for server meshing anyway. What's going on with ship-to-ship docking and ship-to-station docking? Any ideas? They're still planned for 3.8, aren't they? Bam, gameplay. Yeah, so they're still planned for 3.8. They're going to allow ships to dock to docking ports on stations, and allow parasite ships or ships to dock to each other. So essentially you could have the Constellation and the P-52 attached to it, and then be able to dock and undock from it. That's the sort of idea of that tech. Allowing physics grids and ships to merge. Surprise mechanics? When do you think we'll be able to add a ground vehicle as the loadout to our ships, so we can request them together? I don't really know. That's something to me that they could just add as a spawn with ship, sort of like mini option, or added as an item on a ship. I don't know. I know that that's been requested a lot. I know that it's been talked about, like, yeah, we're going to do that, but I'm not sure when that's going to happen. I would expect it by the time they have ship-to-ship docking, because I suspect that will also sort of like, they'll think, oh, we'll have these ships spawn with them pre-docked in some situations, and vehicles pre-docked or whatever. Question of the 890 jump now being 210 meters long, indeed. Do you think it will sell for $1,250 plus? What price point would you be willing to melt your 890 jump for to buy it back with lifetime insurance? Oh, I see. Yeah, so people know ships that are $1,000 or more automatically come with lifetime insurance. That's basically what the historically CIG have done, no matter when it's sold. The 890 jump was smaller. Then they announced it was going to be 199 meters long, and then they said 210 meters very recently. It's actually 210 meters long, which is fucking huge. It is got capital-sized components. It is basically a small capital ship, or even getting to sort of like slightly bigger than just small. So I don't know how much it's going to be when they sell it again. It was $890 last time they sold it. Yeah, maybe they will sell it for $1,200 next time they sell it, and that could be the last time they sell it, and then it will be available in game. But these sort of things, buy them in game, or join an org that's got one. Hey mate, buyback tokens were added today in case you haven't already given people a heads up. I hadn't, Anoot, thank you very much. So buyback tokens have been re-added to your accounts, allowing you to, within the next 3 months, purchase something that you've melted back with store credit, and then in 3 months' time, from today, another token will be added, but you can only have one on your account at any one time. So, does player carryables V2 also mean that we don't have magic inventory in Moby anymore? No. So player carryables V2 is more that there are more items to carry, and you can carry items in different ways. There's more interactions with items, and the interactions are better. The physicalized inventories, which are coming in, is it 3.7 or is it 3.8? 3.7 physicalized inventories is planned for at the moment. That basically means no more magic bags of holding. You have to carry what's on you, and then store stuff elsewhere. So why did you choose to be bored? Oh, mate, I just get bored. I've got a reasonable sort of like management skill of my brain to an extent, but I do like to numb my brain with as many games and sort of like reading as much stuff and watching as many things as possible. I love watching anime. I love researching games. I love playing. I've got a little bit into the League of Legends Teamfight Tactics auto chess. Never played League of Legends before in my fucking life. Hate the idea of it. Teamfight Tactics and auto chess, quite enjoy because it's like playing Warcraft 3 mods. And I'm pretty good at it. I won 2 games in a row and then came second twice. So I like trying out different comps. As soon as you understand what all the items do and all the heroes do, it's pretty easy. I try to choose not to be bored. Will we ever see a mission that allows me to fill my cargo hold, like a normal delivery mission, and transport that with standard single box delivery missions? Almost certainly. Almost certainly there will be missions to carry cargo from one place to another, and probably player missions to do that as well. Good morning, Board. What's your favourite breakfast food? Cooking breakfast and watching you stream. Cheers. It's hard to know anymore. Like, a guilty pleasure is a McDonald's breakfast roll. I'm sure they literally knock a few minutes off my life eating one, but it's like a guilty pleasure food. Like I quite like just like a croissant or a croll, which is like you sell them at Lidl, like a croissant type butter, basically a croissant with ham in it or something, just something like light and nice. I used to love bacon, Phalangish or something like that. But then you have to get the sausages right, and the sausages have to be amazing. Otherwise, what's the fucking point in having a sausage? What's going on with the ship to ship? We talked about that. Any idea as to why telemetry is down? I'm interested to see if there's any metrics on the new cards being tested from NVIDIA and AMD. Maybe they're adding that to them. Telemetry comes down sometimes. Some of these services at the moment, they're sort of like constantly updating and iterating on them and transferring them over to the new diffusion system and the smaller broken up systems and things like this. So some of the things do come down. As a boarding man who's considering shaving their head, what tips do you have for a proper smooth headness? And when did you join the smooth head regime? A couple of years ago, I went for full smooth head. It might be 3 years ago now, to be honest. I use just a beard trimmer to do my hair, nice and simple. I don't put it on the lowest setting, but near lowest. Well, I suppose it is the lowest setting. It's without a guard. It is. I used to have a beautiful mohawk. I was going bald since I was like 20. Did I hear that correctly? Cruise control has been removed in 3.6. No, cruise control has not been removed. Acceleration control has been added in addition to other control, velocity control. But do you think that CIG will release some of the promised star systems as just generic procedure-generated systems at first, and then gradually work on each, adding customized stuff? I think that might be the state of some of the systems that we get for star systems. I think they will be iterative. They will drop potentially multiple ones in relatively soon, in a year or two, and then work on each of the individual hero zones and planets. They don't need to complete a system before dropping it in, that's for sure. Questions. Current in-game ship prices not syncing best with real money ship price. With current in-game prices not syncing the best with real money ship prices, do you think the 325A will sell for more UEC in-game because it has more missiles, heavier armor than that of the 350R? That's an interesting question. So eventually the economy is going to be dynamic, and that's going to have ships effectively priced based on all their components, their hulls, their time to cost to like manufacture, and all this sort of stuff is going to be taken into account, plus their supply and demand. Okay? Bam. And that's going to change. That's going to change from day to day how much the value of a ship is. And yeah, you might have a point where the 325A is worth more than the 350R at some point. Don't equate ships to their real money prices to the in-game prices when they're done. I don't think they'll give us the Odin system in the PTU or PU. It'll be saved for a fresh for Squadron 42. Yeah, I don't think we'll get the Odin system until Squadron 42's released, episode 1. But I do think we'll get it reasonably soon afterwards. 3.6 is not out to everyone yet. It's Wave 1. So subs, Evocali, and Concierge. Some people have said Wave 2, but it's, as far as I'm aware, it's not Wave 2. Do you think it's cool for CIG to have an extended Wave 1 after they've missed their own self-imposed deadlines for a patch release? I mean, it is what it is. It's annoying that they've that it's delayed. I'd prefer it to have been released to go live last week, but it obviously wasn't ready. There was some stuff there that just needs more testing. They aim to have them done live when they say they're going to, and sometimes they miss that. I think, and I suspect that throughout the next patches, 3.7 onwards, unless it's something vitally important, they will just cut the feature and go live and say, yeah, those other things will be in a 3.6.x patch or a .x patch, or they're just going to be pushed to the next release. So, I mean, it's not cool, but it's... I mean, we are all aware that that happens and will happen in the future. It's nothing new. It's not like, oh my god, they promised. It's, we know that happens. In fact, it says that on the roadmap and the schedule stuff, like, this happens. So, it's a known thing. Can you do a video on the outstanding flyable ships yet to be built? Which ones, and maybe speculate while they're being held back? Yeah, we can look at that some Yeti at some point. I'm happy to do that. We'll also be able to own space stations. I think that's a strong possibility. One of the stretch goals was to be able to manage and run space stations originally, and that was met. So I would expect so in some regard. There are going to be, in the shorter term, sort of like space stations that are used for points of interest or for missions or are abandoned, and can just take them over yourself, I suppose. Even then, you could say, well, I own them, and I'm here. When we have more persistence, and you actually spawn exactly back where you were, then you'll be able to hold them a lot better. Once we have more people in the game and stuff. So, yeah, you'll probably be able to take them over just by being in them or proximate to them. But I suspect there will be some mechanics to that in the future as well, that reasons to hold them. When will they do another FPS optimization? When 3.6 goes live for that. When is the Mantis supposed to be released? So, the Mantis, for people that don't know, is what Star Citizen leaks are saying is the 30-meter RSI heavy fighter, and they expect it to be released for CitizenCon. I don't have a source for that other than them, so take that as a rumour, but may be correct. Love your face, thank you very much, I appreciate the love. I need my railgun. Question, if I land, say, my arrow inside a carrack next time I spawn my carrack, will it have my arrow in its hangar? So, technically yes. Vehicles and ships stored in your vehicle, in your ship, should spawn with them. I don't know if that is the case currently, though. I will check it out. Have to park it inside and then despawn it safely. Should work with vehicles. Not 100% sure if it would work with ships. Probably wouldn't work with ships, but it could. I will test. What feature are you most looking forward to from 3.7 or 3.8? Salvaging in 3.8. Probably the biggest feature. When will we see the roadmap updated for Q2 and Q3 of 2020? We could see Q2 after 3.6 is released. We could see Q2 of 2020. In the Q&A, they confirmed the Harbinger has a chin railgun. Any idea if they're going to have it ready for the Harbinger's release? I would expect so. But unconfirmed. Did you hear anything about the Starfarers not being able to mine quantum fuel because quantum fuel becomes solid? Yes, so this is an interesting one. So at the moment, in-game, hydrogen fuel is needed for you to move around. It's not just for afterburner, you need it. So we're going to need to both buy that or have ships that can sustain themselves with intakes or whatever. It's going to be dependent on your ship. Now, there might be batteries and things like that as well, so you can run your ship for a limited time with your power plants or whatever. But it's hydrogen fuel based for the most part. There's also quantum fuel. Now, quantum fuel, they've said, oh, quantum fuel might be a solid now, or there might be multiple ways of getting it, and you might need to come out and mine it by hand, but you'll still be able to potentially refine it in the Starfarer. So that's an interesting one, because they said quantum fuel might be solid, and you might have to do more to it, that the Starfarer might not just be able to just mine it itself, but we'll have to wait and see. They need to tell us more about those fuel mechanics, because they haven't made any firm decisions, it seems. Any ideas on what the Redeemer will end up being? The Redeemer is going to be a gunship now. It might not be with Aegis anymore. They might put it with a different manufacturer, and it's being entirely reconcepted. Any idea what the Aegis August event is going to be? It's a concierge event where they're unveiling a new Aegis ship. People are expecting a capital-sized ship, just in a response to the Kraken, but we don't know. Still love your face. Your voice has become a calming presence in my life. I'm so sorry for your loss. What happened to the ball of fire when you go through atmosphere? They've changed where the sort of like atmosphere is for quantum travel, so you don't notice it as much if it's still there. Expect it to be there and tweaked and that sort of stuff in the future. Expect it to be back in, working at some point, probably looking better. I have a Thrustmaster HOTS set up. What's the best place to copy binaries? Well, So in the Star Citizen folder, it's all saved in your user folder. All saved in your user folder controls. If you want specific HOTAS stuff, I'm not great with HOTAS beyond I mess around with them briefly. If you go on Noobify's channel or Twerk's channel, they've probably got some information based on best place to do HOTAS stuff. Even in my Discord, someone will know. Hope you had a great weekend. Do you think the Merchantman will be flight ready this year? No, it will not be flight ready this year. Same question for the Polaris. Much more likely the Polaris than the Merchantman, but still very unlikely to see the Polaris this year. It would be in the roadmap, almost certainly, if they were working on it. I mean, the Polaris, we could see certainly some work done to it this year. Do you think the Kraken will be on sale in the November possible cost, question mark? I don't know if they're going to increase the Kraken's cost, but I would expect to see it on sale around CitizenCon and the anniversary sale, yes. Do you think there will be FedEx shipping roles in-game? Almost certainly. Delivering packages, I mean, that's one of the main gameplay loops now, but I suspect there will be a robust service beacon system to allow you both to do that with other players' stuff, in some way to Eve as well, I suppose, but just shipping stuff around. Yeah, that's certainly going to be like NPC and guild missions for it as well. Will we see that helmet with the hologram skull anytime soon? Maybe July flare item? Maybe. My hawk, you old punk. I used to enjoy my going out drinking and dancing. Living in New Zealand, it's hard to see you live. Hello for once. Hello, James. A couple of mates and I want to get back into it, but we're worried after reading something on Forbes. Should we worry? You're worried about what? Okay, so they had a Forbes article on Star Citizen, which didn't look at anything to do with the game's development, really. They looked at Chris Roberts as a sort of like CEO, which they went, he's got no experience, and he's shit, is basically what they said, and his wife's mad, and things like that. It was an analysis of the company based on information from a few years ago, when they were starting up, and they were an unknown, and they were inefficient, and certainly did a load of stuff wrong. So, I mean, there's stuff to be concerned about or be vigilant on when it comes to, is the game going to be good, what gameplay mechanics are going to be good, how well is it going to sell, things like that. Is it going to be, are they going to overly monetize and pay to win it, things like that. But again, because of the community element, that sort of stuff is heavily mitigated. A lot of that worry can be sort of like, CIG do respond to the community, they respond very quickly, and know that they are built on the shoulders of the community rather than of giants. So the only thing I'd worry about at the moment at Star Citizen is how stable 3.6 is going to be. Now, when 3.6 goes live, hopefully it's going to fix a load of the problems with 3.5, and it'll be a lot more stable, and a lot more of the core mechanics will be there working. But we'll have to wait and see. Get some sleep. You've been standing guard in the trench for 24 hours. I like my jacket, okay? Where can I get that amazing jacket? I don't know. I think if you just search for like military jackets, you'll find stuff like this. Why are they giving PTU access to subs but not DOMs? I don't know. I would have thought DOMs would have wanted access more. What ships do you think will raise the most comparatively in-game compared to IRL, which will drop in-game? What? Can you be more specific? Sorry, I'm confused. It feels like there's some words missing from that question. In what sense? Are you talking about values, or... So when you're not playing Star Citizen, what other games do you like playing in your spare time? Apex Legends, any VR stuff, because I've got a Valve Index, the full set of Valve Index with Knuckles and everything. It's pretty cool. But there's not actually that much to play on the that's specific for the Index. There's lots of older VR games which are better on the Index because you can run at 144 Hz refresh rate and that sort of stuff, and it just makes the whole experience comfortable. I don't feel motion sick at all with the Valve Index, whatever the fuck it's called. It's pretty cool, and the Knuckles are amazing. The Knuckle controllers are the best controllers in the world, in my opinion. Does 3.6 fix leg breaking and elevator death? So elevators have been physicalized for the most part, and there was lots of leg breaking problems earlier on in the PTU. I haven't experienced leg breaking since 3.6L, so might have been fixed. Might have been fixed in some areas and not others. Any updates on the release time for the Merchantman? Nope. At earliest, I would expect it end of next year. PTU FAQ says Wave 2, though I think it's a mistake. I think they were expecting Wave 2 over the weekend. That makes sense. Yeah, I think they were planning for Wave 2 with the 3.6.0 M patch, and then they obviously rolled it back. What are your thoughts on CIG adding space station building with ship like the Pioneer building the module and then adding them the space station, space base like Hellion? Yeah, so I'd love to see space station building. I think that's a hole in the game that they haven't filled yet. Obviously, space is massive, and it sort of makes sense to be able to build space stations and to hold them and to use them to do things, whether it's sort of like to have an asteroid base for mining or something. So I like the idea. It's just whether or not it's sensible to do. How do you stop the game just being full of space stations? Things like that. So yeah, there needs to be mechanics thought about them rather than just allowing them to run rampant. Like maybe they're really expensive to put in UEE zones, but in the sort of like non-UEE territories, you can place them wherever, and then people will just naturally blow them up, because you then have to have them either blown up or maintained so that they can despawn or change hands. Maybe they'll just have stations that maybe you can't build them, but you'll be able to take them over, and then they'll change hands like that. So I like the idea of it. It just needs to be balanced and planned for it. There are no plans currently to have space station building in-game, but I do like the idea. Have they said anything about when components and subcomponents will be physicalized on ships? No, they haven't. They have said that the Terrapin will be the first ship to have physicalized components. All the ships in the pipelines at the moment are either being built with or are going back to be, or have gone back to be built with cupboards for all of the components. So some of these cupboards have components in, but they're sort of like faked dummy components. But eventually those components will be physicalized, which means that they will ships won't have health pools anymore. Armor will mitigate damage but isn't health, and then there's a piercing system, and once you get through armor or whatever, it will damage the ship underneath it and go, so that can go through the hull, or if it hits a component, it will damage the components, and then it could damage multiple components. There could be knock-on effects and stuff like that, and when a power plant goes down, it stops providing power. But if it gets damaged, then it might provide power intermittently, or with the misfire system and stuff like that. And it might get warned because it's been damaged. That sort of stuff. And the subcomponents, I'm expecting subcomponents to come out at the same time as physicalized components. It sort of like makes sense, but again, not confirmed. But subcomponents after physicalized components would be my expectation, although they are working on both currently. It adds so much to the customization of the game. What are the plans for gameplay inside a ship? With the longish flight times, will there be things to do while traveling from point to point? Yeah, so that's the idea. So there's longish flight times, but it is largely based on the size of your quantum drive and the size of the ship. So small ships, fighters, are not typically meant to move constantly from one side of a system to another. Okay? They can survive, and there's going to be lots of clustered gameplay now around planetary systems, as they deem them. So around Hurston, around Crusader, you'll be able to just stay there with your fighter, blah, 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 plowing through missions. And then occasionally you can travel to the other side of the system, which might take you 15 minutes or so to travel. But you're not supposed to be constantly traveling from one side to another. With larger ships, and ships with big quantum drives, it's going to be cut down a 15-minute journey to 5-minute journey. And the idea eventually will be that you can park your small little fighter. Thank you very much, John. Oh my god. Everyone should have an RTX on potato. Oh, I love you. You're a legend. Thank you very much. Fuck ton of money. Oh, John. Oh, I love you, John. I'll make you an executive producer. Whatever the fuck I call them. You're a VIP to me, John. Give me money. I love you. What was I talking about? I was going off on a tangent. And I've forgotten because money was given. Oh yes, so you'd park your fighter on a larger ship and then use that ship to get from one side of the system to another, or to go through multiple jump points or whatever. And that could be a ship that you owned, that could be a carry ship, that could be an NPC ship or whatever. There might just be services that allow you to do that. You could also just pay someone else to move your ships around. I'm expecting that I'll have multiple ships on multiple planets. So I'll use a shuttle of some sort to travel from one area to another, like a Genesis Starliner or something, like a service that will get me from one planet to another, and then just spawn or get my ship out of my hangar that's there and just use that within that planetary system before returning to the main planet, landing, and then if I need to get to another planet, I use a shuttle. You see what I mean? That's what I'm expecting gameplay-wise. But you'll also be able to do things on ships when you're doing these flight things, so there'll be things to do on your mobiGlas to pass the time, almost certainly, but also, especially on larger ships, there'll be maintenance to do on your ship. So components can break or get worn, or the fuse boxes and things can blow, and you can sort of like go and repair them. There will be the dynamic mission system generator and points of interest that you will discover literally just by traveling through space. There might be a distress signal. There might be some other signal that you pick up, something interesting. You go, oh, there's an asteroid field here. Oh, I've come out of quantum. You might get quantum interdicted. Lots and lots and lots of things could happen. What colour do you think the carrot will be when it's released? And what colour do you hope for? It's probably going to be a bluey grey or a greeny grey, and we're about to customise it in the future anyway, so... When do you guess we will get the 890 jump? End of July? Question mark? End of August? I think we could have it as early as the end of this month, but more likely mid-August. Mid-August with a 3.6.1 patch with 890 jump, some quality of life fixes, and ship rentals. When might we see E-Warfare and or the Vanguard Sentinel? So the Vanguard Sentinel is on the roadmap already. Let's actually just double check to make sure it hasn't moved. And it's in 3.7 still. So the Sentinel and the Harbinger, the rest of the Vanguard variants, they are in 3.7 currently. I would expect the Sentinel to not have E-Warfare at that stage. It might have EMP missiles or disruption missiles or something like that. But when it comes to E-Warfare, we don't know when we're getting that in-game, and we don't know to what extent E-Warfare will be a thing. I'm expecting it will be able to spoof signatures, be able to confuse sensors, sort of like fuzz them out, things like that. Your stuff. Confuse things. E-Warfare might extend to interdiction and stuff like that as well. I would expect to see some focused E-Warfare ships in the future. The Sentinel has some E-Warfare sort of like potential, but it isn't like a true E-Warfare ship. It's a variant of the Vanguard, so sort of bear that in mind. How can you give your friends UEC in-game? So at the moment, you can't do it properly. It's alpha UEC in-game anyway. So what you'd do is you'd make a service beacon, and then they would instantly accept it. So you could make a service beacon for combat support or take me from here to here. And then they take that service beacon and effectively you give them money. Someone's just donated a huge amount. AG, oh my god. John, I love you. You're now half as much loved as AG, though. I don't drink coffee and watch the news. I drink coffee and watch Star Citizen AMA Alpha 3.6.0 PTU with BoredGamer. Pow, pow. Oh my god, AG, thank you so much. You fucking legend. You've got twice as much love as John. No, thank you very much. I'm a bit manic today, so you'll have to bear with me. Thank you so much. Oh god. People donate a lot of money to me, and I'm not really sure why, but I do appreciate it. I have focused on Star Citizen as my game of choice, and looked at other options and potential for the game, and went, I can make a lot more money covering different games, like whatever, like Apex or whatever. But I always just, I love Star Citizen, and I want to focus on Star Citizen because I enjoy what I do with it. And other games are sort of like much more fleeting for me. Although I am planning to do some other stuff on the second channel and look at some other things as well, especially with VR. But it's always going to be 99% Star Citizen with me, I think. Unless Star Citizen turns out to be really crap or something somehow, then I would I'd consider changing. But I'm pretty happy with where it's going now. Probably not so happy a couple of years ago, 3 years ago. I was sort of learning my craft really early stage then. I still saw the potential of Star Citizen then. So, do you think they will implement contracts similar to that in EVE? Yes. I think EVE Online contracts, there's a lot that CIG can learn with how they structure things in EVE Online when it comes to customization, when it comes to fittings, when it comes to contract systems, when it comes to some mission stuff. Not how it addresses PvP currently, though. Don't be sucked into the only large-scale PvP. You want ranges of PvP. You do want some areas that are very, 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 very hard, if not impossible to do PvP, but you don't want it to be super Care Bear. You need elements of fun, and you need elements of risk and reward, and you need that PvP sort of gameplay there, which they've started to phase out in EVE, in my opinion. I want a mixture, on a range of that stuff, because I might be doing a huge amount of PvE stuff, but I do want the risk of PvP, and I do want areas to do it in. You want to have areas which are secure. You want to have UEE zones. You want to prevent griefing. Piracy and PvP very different from griefing. But I like the whole social aspect, and I like orgs and bounty hunting and all that sort of stuff, fighting each other, and it's exciting. It's all super gameplay for me. Rosie O'Donnell, Margaret Thatcher, Mother Teresa. You gotta bang one, marry one, and kill one. Go. I believe Mother Teresa died in 1997, which is my favourite year. So, marry. And then I'm just gonna have to bang Margaret Thatcher because she was the Iron Woman. And then you can come up with the rest yourself. She's British as well. Come on. What's your opinion on hover mode? Because I think it sucks. Vladimir, it's a good question. At the moment, it's a bit broken. However, once you get used to the new acceleration control in conjunction with velocity control and hover mode, it sort of makes more sense. At the moment, however, it's not balanced properly. So you sort of like float around and glide even when you're not even when you're like holding the space brake. So you'll hold space brake and then you'll still glide backwards, or hold space brake and then start turning. You're like, what? Why? I'm literally not moving. So there needs to be some tweaks there. I like the idea of it, and on paper I think it's good. I've actually got a video on it, Mr. Putin, which will go live within a half an hour or so. It might have already gone live for today, looking at the new flight model changes and updates with 3.6. Thank you very much for all the ridiculous amount of donations. I need to update the money majugger because it only tracks some donations. So thank you very much. I will like $200 on there or something. People would not like me to be in a band. I've got no real musical sort of talent. I used to play the euphonium and then the trumpet when I was young. I'm terrible at singing. Sergeant Pepper rang. He would like his coat back. I'm assuming you're trying to say when you're done, as he's feeling a bit lonely. Well, I'd like my language back when you could spell properly, criminal. No, thank you. Thank you for the question. What? I don't know why I'm thanking you. Do you think we'll ever see proper life support mechanics on ships this year? Probably not this year. They probably want physicalized components for that first as well. They just gotta get my get out clause for, I don't know, physicalized components. So they want the player status system in first, which is it 3.8 now, or have they moved it to 3.9? Player status systems in the 3.8. That tracks oxygen and inebriation and food and hunger and hygiene and all that sort of jazz. But when we have the room system in fully with lots of different rooms and stuff, the pressure between rooms and the environments between them will normalise when you open doors and things like that, or depressurise or whatever. So all that needs to be there really before life support mechanics, because then it will be producing oxygen, and then the player state system will track oxygen in your blood and things like that. And thanks for the love, very much appreciated. What Wave PTU is the one open to all for all backers to test? Open PTU. That's literally what it's called now. What is cloud gaming? How does it work? Do you have any recommendations? Are you kidding me, Newt? Newt wants me to talk about Shadow because I got Newt into Shadow cloud gaming, which is something I happily shill for. Basically, it enables you to leverage the internet to have a gaming Windows 10 environment on any device. So you can stream it to your mobile, you can stream it to your crappy computer, you can stream it to your laptop, whatever, and effectively you have a gaming computer which always gets updated as long as your internet's good enough. It's a great service. Some like super important Twitch shooters it might not be great for because there's going to be even in the best possible situation, a small amount of latency, although it's getting better and better with every sort of like update that Shadow do. But yeah, it works really well with Star Citizen, and I really like it. But Newt loves it as well, which is why he mentions it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Happily shill. Use the code BoredGamer for NordVPN or Shadow if you would like to get discounts. Speaking of HOTAS and controllers, do you think they will add more default setups for controllers such as the Warthog? Oh, I see. Yeah. Almost certainly. I'm hoping that we just get... I'd almost always use someone else's config, to be honest. Just copy and paste it into your user folder. That's what I want about to do. It's easy. Thank you very much, Poodle Poo. Very much appreciated. And Star Citizen be implementing animals and aliens, also better water? Question mark. When is swimming planned now? Player swim is 3.9, so Q1 of 2020. That's when I'd also expect to see at least some better water. Animals and aliens, we don't know. I'm expecting to see something like that at CitizenCon, but it's going to be a while before procedural, before animals are in the game, probably. Although they could have Terpy AI running around. They still need to fix a load of the AI. They're going to need to improve the servers first before they have other entities and NPCs running around and doing stuff. Maybe next year. Actually, I would very much expect it next year to see some early stuff with that. Can I expect bug fixes related to ships in 3.6? Yeah, expect a wide range of quality of life and bug fixes. Is the Omega getting a cargo bay? I don't believe so. No, I think it's got an extra intake there instead. Have you heard or any idea when we'll have working engineering stations on ships? No, but really it's just an extension, in my opinion, of the MFDs. So they'll building those systems out more and more with every patch. How far away do you think legit exploration is? Soil mechanics for exploration ships. Exploration covers a huge range of topics, mission types, and that sort of stuff, and it's going to be slowly integrated before then sort of like adding in scannable points of interest. So it's all going to be at the same real time as the scanning tech comes in as well, and they are doing that currently. They keep on adding and sort of like expanding the scanning tech. But exploration's quite... for me, exploration, the way I see it, there's a huge amount of stuff that goes on with it, including science stuff, but sort of like what a lot of people mean is, when can I just fly off and find things? With the dynamic mission system stuff, some of that is coming in 3.8 and onwards. Eventually you'll have points of interest, things that just happen, events, and you find an asteroid field that spawns in, which will then remain persistent when it's discovered. And you'll be able to sell that information, you'll be able to record where that location is, and you'll be able to scan down these locations as well with ships that have the appropriate scanners or if you're in the right place. Do you like the P-72? I mean, it's okay. It would only really be worthwhile as a racer against other P-72s. Tyler Thomas, hi. Glad to catch you live, Bored. Been a long-time fan. Thanks for doing what you do, sir. Thank you very much for watching. What the fuck are you wearing? I know, right? Hey man, have a question about subscribers, but feel free to ask. Oh, I've just seen Jags. AG's. I've just seen AG's donation again, which makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside and richer. I wonder if the... Oh, me fucking... What? More music. Bam. Are there any ships do you know that subscribers can buy right now? Specifically for subscribers, there's always like there's always a few. Is there a flash sale on for anything in particular new though? Maybe the Vanguard might be available. Does anyone know at the moment? Any specific additional subscriberships available at the moment? How long do you think until we'll see multiple star systems? I think we'll see another star system potentially shown at CitizenCon, and I think we'll get a new system that we can travel to next year. They are going to want server meshing, static server meshing at least in the game first, and I will expect we'll see that implemented and a new system next year. The reason we need that static server meshing is because they need to hand over data between servers. Oh, 1997 is a beautiful year for multiple reasons. And not just because it's the year you were born. Which I lost now. Who said that? Dragon Rider. So, 1997, I believe Final Fantasy 7 came out. Katrina and the Waves won Eurovision. So it's a UK win for Eurovision with Love Shine a Light. Was it Quake 2? Half-Life come out then as well? Unfortunately, Princess Diana and I believe Mother Teresa died as well. But so it's not all good. Oh, AG, why you, no? I love you so much, but that's a lot of money. Thank you. I wish there was a purple donation color. I like the color purple. It's not quite blue and not quite red. If only there was such a thing. Update. I've run out of coffee, and my life force is slowly draining. Please help. No. I can't help you. Can I, AG? You've sent me all the money now anyway. I've had my donations, now I'm done with you. Oh my god, thank you so much. You fucking legend. Some people are ridiculous. I appreciate your ridiculousness. What coffee do you drink anyway, AG? It's not disgusting, just instant, is it? Is it a particular type or brand? We could do a coffee club in the morning, maybe. Maybe I should sort of... I could do like a really simple stream in the mornings. I could... Actually, maybe that's what I should do. I should evolve my sort of Ask Me Anything chatty streams into like a morning stream while I'm doing my work at the same time. Like a coffee club. We chat, I can do some work, I can make the videos, people can experience that while we just chat, boom. And then stream properly later in the evening some days, some proper Star Citizen gameplay. Because 3.6, I'm hoping it's going to be pretty good for that. Plan to kill all the NPCs, but I'd rather not shoot other players, unless it's Arena Commander or Star Marine. Yeah, so I'm very sort of like, I feel guilty taking out players in sort of games like that. Even in Rust and stuff, I do, unless I've got a very specific purpose in mind. It's like turning up at someone. Turning up and just finding someone. I'll try not to engage unless I feel threatened. However, if I feel threatened, I will just try to kill. Or if they got something really valuable. Is there anything to do in game with the exploration ships? No, you can just travel across the verse a bit more. Across the systems, typically a bit faster because the quantum drives are effectively better, maybe. Depends what ship it is, but no. There's no exploration gameplay mechanics at the moment. Do you use dual sticks to fly? No. Noobify has 2 Warthogs, which he swears by. I have used dual stick. I've used dual Verpals, which I actually prefer a Verpal Constellation Delta and their throttle. That's my favourite setup at the moment. I think it's amazing. Feels great. It's got all the controls and buttons and everything I want in the world. And it's good precision. Tyler Thomas, how long have you been streaming? 3 years maybe? 2 years, 3 years, 2.5 years. And how did you get started? I do Star Citizen. I do YouTube videos. Then I just did some extra streams and that to support my YouTube channel and to get a bit sort of like involved with my community. It's great for donations. It's great for ideas and sort of like community sort of feedback, working out what I'm going to do next. Lots of stuff. It's just useful. So streaming for me isn't a way to earn money necessarily. It's a way to sort of like support the rest of my work. What hurdles have you overcome that may have dissuaded you? You always compare yourselves to other people, even though you shouldn't. You get burnout. You get depressed. That stuff shouldn't dissuade you. But you should also probably not go into streaming and YouTube until you can make money from it. So do it as a sort of hobby until you can make money from it and then leave your job. But it's also very erratic. Like at any time you could just be gone. What did I do to earn these medals? So I bought this one on eBay. I bought this one on eBay. I bought this one on eBay. And I got this one on eBay. Is 4.0 or 4.6 launch version? No, neither. Vamprist. I can highly recommend Shadow Tech. You can run Star Citizen on a Surface Go from a hotel room. The shining, I love you Vamprist by the way, shining example of I can use Shadow on my Nokia 3310. Wow, I think that might be a lie, Simon Morris. But I appreciate your enthusiasm. Pastries when? Before or after server meshing? I think that probably comes when we can walk on stations. That's an old Eve meme. Flyman Ninja, love your face. I honestly expect we will see pastries when they have Earth and London in. I expect we will see London, New York, and Tokyo as major landing locations on Earth. I actually noticed some of the NPC missions are givers are branching out. Oh no, so okay, so yeah, some of the missions have more arcs than just one. And once you've done one of their missions or have a certain amount of rep, there will be other missions available. It's not just one. The Vanguard is available for subscribers at the moment. Yes. You just spent $200 in the last 10 minutes. Yes, yes, I have. I love you guys. Thank you very much. I didn't see that was you, G. It was like, why is someone talking to me about something that makes sense in Teamfight Tactics on League of Legends? G, who is one of the BoredGamer streamers, who also now streams Star Citizen sometimes, and I'm going to slowly convert his channel over to be entirely Star Citizen. We play League of Legends Teamfight Tactics together, and Aurelian Soul is incredibly powerful. He's not the most powerful. Well, actually, maybe he is. Maybe he is. I think Nah is pretty powerful as well. It's all to do with the build. So I did Rangers Knights earlier. That's pretty powerful because it's got early, mid, and then you can build it into late game as well. So you can sort of like have all your games in one. Do you think the Hull E is going to keep its crazy amount of modularity from the Q&A? Their potential load and modularity is unparalleled, or will it be a large cargo ship? Expect it to be at least a large cargo ship. I'm expecting that some of the large cargo containers are going to be able to hold ships and vehicles and stuff like that. So, maybe like, yeah, I suspect they'll effectively just be huge cargo containers. The Hull C, I'm expecting to be reasonably... Actually, no, I'm expecting them just to be cargo ships, to be honest. And the cargo that they can carry to be so huge that, yeah, maybe it can be other ships and that sort of stuff. But we'll have to wait and see. Have there been any talk about falling mechanics? Like current falling feels like a pencil. Current falling like a pencil feels bad. And I'm wondering if we're getting anything like parachutes or jetpacks. So we're going to have better jumping mechanics in 3.6 and better falling mechanics. They are going to have ways that you can be in atmosphere and survive, whether that's parachutes or jetpacks or jump chairs or something. We don't know. Ever tried a 6 Degrees of Freedom space mouse for Star Citizen? I got sent one and haven't tried it yet, like a year ago. I will have a look. Then I got my room done, so I sort of got put it into storage. Also, will I be able to strap a slice of buttered bread to the back of a cat, so that if it will, and if so, will it spin? If so, in which direction? And also, which science ship will I be able to perform this amazing feat inside? Flymo. Okay, so we are supposed to be able to have pets to start with. The buttered toast on the back of a cat, assuming that the butter is face up, yeah, and the cat is obviously has its back to it. If you drop the cat, the idea is that. Wait a second, I've got this wrong, haven't I? You have to put the buttered toast on the cat's feet. Yeah, put the buttered toast on the cat's feet, so it's facing up and away from the cat. Because then when you drop the cat will always land on its feet. But will always like no. One second. Let's get this right. You defeated me. Put the butter on the cat's feet, and then you feed it the toast, and then it spins. Zero gravity. Just fucking spin the cat, mate. Just spin it. Jonathan Durr. Here's to hoping a party launch works in 3.6. Yeah. So, some of the quality of life things, like, you know, getting stuff that was working fine in 3.4, broken in 3.5 and 3.5.1, working in 3.6 is a high priority when it comes to basic gameplay. Looking Katrina in the waves, how dare you? I'm really watching my weight. So, thank you! You put the buttered toast on the back of the cat, and then you spin the cat in zero gravity, and then the cat is both alive and dead.
Oh, beautiful.
Boom, got it. Fucking nailed it. Yeah, Star Citizen Breakfast Club's a good idea. That actually helped me get up earlier, and I can talk about what I want to do throughout the day. That's a really good idea. And then when I do other streams, they can be pure gameplay streams. Euphonium or trumpet? I mean, the trumpet is just cooler. Euphonium is significantly more nerdy. I'm a massive nerd, so... An annoying customer aboard your Banner Matchman, and you asked them to leave, but they didn't, and they shot you and swore at them. Get off my fucking ship with chat logged. Would CIG ban you? Ban you! Would CIG ban you? Banu! Oh my god, I fucking love that, Simon. You really drew me in. But, to answer your question, even though it was a joke, there's going to be ways of asking people to leave your ship. So you can issue an order, yeah, to anyone that's on your ship to leave your ship, and they'll have a certain amount of time to comply. Typically, that will be used for when, like, a Genesis Starliner or Banner Merchantman has gone into dock or left dock when they're not supposed to have any other people on, and everyone else is supposed to have got off, or whatever. So you say, get off my ship. If you don't, then I'm allowed to use reasonable force to remove you. We'll see. Any force you want to remove them, they are a stowaway at that point. And I believe they said that one of the ways they'd have that is it would come up on the person's screen as an order, and you could just literally click yes, and it would teleport you outside the ship, or whatever. But there might be a more immersive way of doing that. But gameplay and balance is going to always trump pure immersion and realism. Do you think the next roadmap update after 3.9 will be 3.10 or 4.0? I'm expecting 4.0 because it's just a number. Doesn't need to be anything magnificent. They might try to add... for for 4.0, they might try and have burst state server meshing or server-side object container streaming with full persistence or something like that as well. But it will be sort of like, I wouldn't expect it to have anything particular in it beyond it just being a number. Consider getting the same hairpiece as Lando Malari. I mean, any hair, and then done like a fan. I used to love Babylon 5, mate. When will the MISC ships be back on sale? Don't know. You'll see sales throughout the year. At the very latest, you'll see them in November with the anniversary sale and CitizenCon. Have you played EVE or Elite Dangerous? A tiny bit of Elite Dangerous. Wasn't my cup of tea. Was just a bit bored. Wasn't sort of like my kind of grind. EVE used to play fucking loads. Loved EVE. I understand CIG are essentially modifying the Lumberyard engine for Star Citizen and Squadron 42. Do you anticipate the engine becoming similar to Unreal Engine and used on other future games? Yeah, I mean, that's what Lumberyard want to do. Lumberyard want their engine to be adopted by a lot of people, and they're spending a load of time and effort and money into making that potentially a reality. I'm expecting, or I suspect, I suppose, that CIG have a deal with them where they're sharing technology, potentially selling it to the Lumberyard, potentially using some of their procedural stuff, because some of the stuff in Star Citizen looks like it's been put into the Lumberyard engine when it comes to like generation of grass and stuff like that. I also suspect that when Star Citizen has a good multiplayer sort of like code there and AI code, the Lumberyard will potentially start to see that implemented on their engine side. Do you think the MISC Razor will fit in the Carrack? It'll hold him a bob. No, I think it's just going to be snub-nosed ships, and it's bespoke built for the Pisces. I mean, it potentially could fit the Razor. We'll have to wait and see, but I wouldn't expect it to. In the pictures of the cat flipping around. What's the difference between bucks, modularity, variants, and the other terms? So, bucks, battlefield upgrade kits, are a collection of items. So typically it'll be like they're for the vanguards. They were only ever for the vanguards, and then they phased them out. But they were allowed you to change one vanguard into another effectively. So now those bucks, if you had bought them, allow you to have like the weapons that the other variant has, and the central room change, and then you change out that room. So it's a modular room change and some equipment that you can put into another ship once they actually have the modularity changeable stuff in game. Modularity refers to large modular sections of ships being able to be changed, such as rooms. So you've got the central room in the vanguards, you've got the caterpillar that's going to have lots and lots of its 4 sections can all be changed, and potentially its front section as well, for different sort of like rooms that will have different abilities. So you could have an armory, or you could have a give another example, the Endeavour. The Endeavour's got biodomes as a module. It's got an overclocking facility. It's got a telescope, like an electron telescope thing. It's got science and research and people area, whatever you call them, crew quarters, all that sort of stuff as individual modules for the ship. But typically when you're talking about modularity, you're talking about changing out a large or a single room or single part of a ship. The Retaliator's got like 2 torpedo bays, which you can change out for sort of like living areas or drop sort of like ship areas, so you can have lots of marines in it, things like that. What's the other term? So with variants, typically you have a series of ships. So you have like the vanguards, and you have vanguard variants. So the vanguards have the Warden, have the Hoplite, have the Harbinger, and the Sentinel, and they're all variants of that ship. Relapse, thank you very much. And Haneth, Relapse, thank you very much for the resub. And Haneth, thank you very much for the bits. Earth's landing zones will be New York, Moscow, Shanghai, and a 4th zone. Most likely London or Berlin. Yeah, so, yeah, I was expecting Japan, London, So Shanghai and Japan makes sense because we've seen that in the law. Moscow and New York, you think as well. I didn't know Moscow was going to be one, but I suppose that makes sense, maybe? I thought London was going to be one. Yeah, I was currently shouting at the TV, the back, you put it on the cat's back. No, why would you put butter on a cat's back? You're a monster. Have you been to CitizenCon? I went to CitizenCon in 2015 when we were in a hangar underneath a Concorde, which some people online said that CIG had made a plane and put it in there, made a spaceship. No, that's the Concorde in a hangar. Do you think that the PU and PTU are training an entire generation of Star Citizen suppliers that death has no consequence? I think it's probably teaching players bad habits, which will then result in that PvP marauder mentality. Star Citizen is a PvP game. Well, Star Citizen has PvP elements. It's a PvE and PvP game. It's risk and reward, and you can play it in either, and you can minimize the chances that PvP from a player will happen to you. You're still going to have PvE, sort of pirates and stuff coming after you as well, going over to full release, thus breaking a lot of CIG's vision of Star Citizen. No, I think that you'll see PvP and PvE, and certain systems will have much more of PvE content than PvP, and vice versa. It's going to be risk and rewards. There's going to be org battles and stuff. They will probably expand that out, but they want to make sure that it covers both elements and that it's fun. And yeah, I would expect to see high risk reward in the PvP zones. I've got a prospect that show me the way to minerals. They all clustered together now, so when you find one asteroid, there's loads of asteroids or rocks around it as well, so it's pretty useful. What do you do when there isn't a lot of new content to cover for Star Citizen? Well, there's always lore, there's always new news. Jacket is getting hot. There's always lots of stuff to do with Star Citizen. It can be gameplay, it can be features, it can be looking at theorycraft. There's always a huge amount. I mean, I haven't even started properly on guides and redoing my ship buyer's guide series. There's always going to be a huge amount of content. And then when the game gets more fleshed out, I'll be able to focus much more on guides and gameplay. I'll evolve with Star Citizen content as it evolves. You look tired. I am always tired. I don't sleep very well. I'm fucking hungry. That's what I am. Intermittent starving myself. Intermittent fasting, it's called. Because my cholesterol's high. So I'm trying to sort that out. I thought I was pre-diabetic or diabetic or something. It turns out I'm not. Just my cholesterol's a bit higher than it should be. I don't think it's even that dangerously high. Even though I'm pretty overweight for my height because I'm 5'7". I'm pretty short. And I'm stocky as fuck. Sorry, I'm very sweary today. I do apologise. Currently, JBirdMax, it is 5:30 here. And I love you, JBirdMax. And JP Sandman. And Haneth. Probably lots of other ones, other ones here, you know, the peoples. Question. Almost every patch we've had since 3.5 had ship combat as testing focus. The PvP community has given them ample feedback and no changes have been made. What's the roadblock? Expect changes in 3.6. They're still filtering in a load of stuff for the new flight model, which is nowhere near completed yet. And there's a huge amount of balance and stuff to do. There's going to be a huge amount of change once we get physicalized components and stuff. There's so many things that they need to do. Well, there is a criminal status, but maybe the wild hunt will be a huge thing. So the other thing with like PvE and PvE is that once they have a full crime system in, then they're going to be able to prevent a lot of griefing, and they're going to be able to have appropriate behaviour and appropriate systems. That's the idea, because otherwise you get fined and attacked constantly by police. Yes, thank you very much. I'm surprised that I'm not pre-diabetic, to be honest. But I've been eating pretty fucking well. Again, apologise for me being super sweary today. Do you think that traditional aerodynamic aircraft without spacefaring capabilities have a place in Star Citizen? I think I'd like to see atmosphere superiority fighters, but I don't know if it's... maybe we could see aircraft without spacefaring capabilities, maybe. Might see boats as well, they said. I don't know. I need to think more on it. Yeah, I know. My BoredGamer logo is attacked by the green screen. It hates it. Skipping is exercise. You only need a rope. I've got a running machine. I do sit-ups, push-ups. I've got free weights. I'm pretty good with the exercise. I do a half-an-hour run a day. If I didn't, I wouldn't do any movement. Like, I would literally be attached to my PC. Actually, that's not true at the moment. Because I've got the Valve Index, I've been doing a lot more exercise. And I'm sweaty exercise from the Valve Index. On, like, the second day I had it, me and Zen had a squat competition while playing Chat VR. For some reason. I think it's because I said, look, I can fucking squat. And, yeah. Don't worry. Let's go off around tangents about me squatting. AG has donated more money. I love you. I love you, AG. You want me to cover an orc, or I think you've basically bought me now. I found a suitably purposeful... I can't words. I'm too excited from all the money. I found a suitably purplish colour after tinkering for 20 minutes. I have since ordered more coffee and a croissant. I look forward to partaking in Bored Breakfast Club. I highly suggest you drink Costa Rican coffee. It's split up into two lines rather than me just being ridiculously idiotic. There's no going back. Costa Rican coffee, not Costa Ric and coffee. Why am I bad at reading? Oh, I'm dyslexic as well. I actually am dyslexic rather than using it as an excuse to be ridiculous. Have you tried binaural beats to sleep? Works miracles for me. I'm not sure what that is. I use white noise to sleep, and that helps a lot. But I used to didn't really get tired. I don't like sleeping. Oh, I love you, AG. That's a ridiculous amount of money, and I love your face. But if you can do anything for you, want me to cover an org, or you want me to mention you in love, I'll definitely add you to the people, the important people, the people that make the producing happen, the executive producers. I'll add you to that list. You're a fucking legend. The auto-fire system was ridiculous. Auto-find system was ridiculous. Getting awarded 8,000 UEC for a bounty to be auto-fined 12,500 for a murder. Well, so with the assassination missions, basically the illegal bounty hunts, which will get your criminal rating for doing, there needs to be a sort of like a sub-objective of turn off the comm array in this area so that you can do this attack without being killed yourself or getting a criminal rating yourself. Like, and potentially give you an extra reward for doing it. Things like that. So, then stuff like that needs to be balanced properly. Should we swap roll and yaw on our flight sticks because of hover mode? Wait until it gets fully sort of like implemented, and then we can talk about it. I'm not great with HOTAS and sticks, Ted. So, Agria. Coffee. Ooh. Will there be co-op and party missions coming soon? Not in 3.6. Well, you can play the missions co-op, but they're not properly co-op, are they? Mission sharing is being worked on, and they want it in, and there's lots of other party and improvements and things like that. Some party improvements in 3.6, they're trying to get VoIP and FOIP more widely used and things like that, quality of life things. But with co-op missions and mission sharing, potentially in 3.7, but we know it's not going to be in 3.6. But they are working on it. They know it's super important. Hi, Board. Do you think they will import the systems created for Squadron 42 in the persistent universe? Yes, at some point. No reason for them not to use them, unless they collapse some of the jump points or something in the story, like in Free Space. Yeah, I would expect... my expectation for systems is that they put Pyro in, they put Nyx in, and then they build towards the Odin system and have the Odin system in, which is one of the systems, at least, in Squadron 42. Tune your brain into sleep waveforms like delta waves, theta waves. Puts you to sleep fast, keeps you asleep, helps you dream. Okay, Ted, I will check that out. Thank you. Oop. Add that to my things to do in July. Word cloud for Patreons and VIPs. Give VIPs and Patreons more things. So my list in there a moment. New flight modes and system. I've sort of done a very light video on that. Do a video on the law system and black market. What is it? What does it do? How it work? Mantis and blister leaks. Things like this. Do missions. Full mission narrated. Like there's very short-term things that I put on the 3.6 content, but there's lots of features that I need to cover for 3.6 still. Which dominant biome is your favourite on a planet? Desert, frozen, jungle, tundra, lava, other. So at the moment in the game, there's the savannah biome on Hurston, which is the best biome in the game at the moment, in my opinion, by far. On sort of games in general, I sort of like forest, grassland biomes. I like green, and I like it sort of like juxtaposed with forests and a little bit of sort of like some browns and stuff like that as well, some like farmish type land. The palette in Rust, I love, like as a survival run-round game. Hey Board, I suffer from manic episodes as well, and not sleeping along with some other symptoms I see you exhibiting now is something I would get a handle on, because it needs to crash. Just saying. It leads to crash. It leads to crash. I know I'm pretty good at managing myself. I'm even good at managing my blood sugar levels and things like that. I do have a tendency to get quite... I was pretty ill on Friday and Saturday. I was supposed to be going to this board game conference, StabCon, north, where Cameron actually went as well. But I was too fucking rough. I worked myself up into like anxiety fits and things like that. Well, not fit. Anxiety, sort of like terribly bad anxiety, just randomly, and then I get a handle on it. Happens sometimes. Right. Which ship occupation do you think will have the most money-making potential? I think it will vary throughout the sort of like game. I think there's a lot of money to be made from salvaging, and at different scales of salvaging. There's going to be a lot of money being made from mining. I think mining has a huge potential to make a huge amount of money, like the Orion, if you find a lucrative field of nom-noms. But even combat and stuff like that is all sort of like working towards... if you can have a really well-working org with lots of pieces being touched on, and be able to defend your very, very, very valuable like ore fields or bases on like planets or whatever, where you're nomming up resources in your outposts, then I think you can make a lot of money. But it's a lot of things coming together, but I do think mining will be up there, probably one of the best ways of making money. Are you in an org? I mean, lots and lots and lots of different orgs. There's a BoredGamer org, which I'm going to run socially, which is sort of like anyone's allowed to join, which I'm starting from 3.6 Live, will be reasonably active throughout the day. And we might even use it for the BoredGamer coffee or breakfast club or whatever the fuck we decide to call it. Might even be a good idea to roll the podcast into that. Oh, see, this is why, one of the reasons I like streaming, to get ideas for content. The gameplay video in your background is no longer possible with the hover mode. Yes, it is. As long as he's going at as long as he's going at a reasonable speed, which he probably is there, he's probably going just over the speed he needs for hover mode. Also, they're probably going to put a hover mode toggle in. It's one of the things they wanted to put in. You see, it's at 103. Perfect. Right, I will be back. I'm just going to grab a drink of water real quick. Oh, sorry it took so long. I'm the worst. Apologies. You could not hear me peeing because I was taking a shit. No more chair remote. Do I not have a chair remote? I'll update the chair remote, okay, with a new chair. Because the old chair, it got hung, drawn and quartered. Or, you know, de-stuffed, back-seated and ripped apart. What else we got here? Alright, what I'm going to do, we'll read that in a second. I'll try and load up some Star Citizen. Over. Bam. Look like at the moment when I click on game. Oh, perfect. Up here. Bam. Bam. Just if you just search on the orgs on actually I'll put a link to the org in the video descriptions in the future. I don't think I've done that. But you can join the Discord, it's all there. Or you can just search for the org on in the org section of the RSI website, this BoredGamer. Is it true a rumoured soon to be developed fiery lava planet is named after the famous literary Belgium detective Poirot? I do think that the Poirot system will be in reasonably soon. Let us turn off that. Bam. Turn on turn up the sound here slightly. Have a bit of a chill. Let's get this down the bottom. But thirsty question, what's your view on the 689 jump being able to land on water? I think they should be able to. I suspect they will be able to at some point. They'll want to have buoyancy for ships, they said. Bottom. New messages. And then have a little bit of a chill out before we stop. I'm in Grimhex at the moment because I was doing some stuff on Yella for a video. And although I do have accounts on pretty much all the landing zones in the game at any one time, it's one of the first things I do on a patch, which is really annoying when they reset the progress, because it takes me like an hour or two to get everyone back to where they are, and with the right gear and stuff. One of the things in Grimhex, well, two things in Grimhex. There's some cool armor. All the new shops. Ooh. Metallic-y purpley armor. But we'll have a quick look at the hacking chips after I buy this. Buy. Where is the trash helmet? The bottom. It is. This helmet isn't sealed, so you suffocate when wearing it, which I didn't know during a video because I'm an idiot. How did you do this whole AMA post and the new flight model video 18 minutes ago? BoredGamer AI. I might have had it getting ready while I was streaming. As soon as it's processed on YouTube, it takes a while for then get processed for 1440p. So just careful planning more than anything else. Since Port Olisar will be replaced, can you and other Star Citizen streamers band together and push for an abandoned Port Olisar floating in the standard system? Maybe have it hidden for explorers to find or something. It'll be interesting to see what happens to Port Olisar. Will they destroy it? Will they just replace it? Will it stay somewhere in some regard? I'd like a model of Port Olisar at some point, actually, like a physical model of it, really. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. They from what I understand, they want to replace it with the new sort of like semi-cargo stations that are coming after 3.7. So there's some of the new procedural tech for large space stations. What's the current spec of your gaming rig? 64 gigs of RAM, a 8700K, and a 1080 Ti. I'm going to be upgrading to a 2080 Ti soon. That's the plan. I might have a look at the new AMD processors. They look pretty slick. They're comparable to the 9900Ks. You should have decent performance with that setup, Devils. Jeez. But these, so where Ruto is, so Ruto's around this corner. Here's this hologram.
This terminal is experiencing technical difficulties. We apologize for any inconvenience.
That's where Ruto is. Who is Constagan, I can't, Kellos. It's also Ortwin, I mean IRL, the legal reps at CIG. So we've got all the chips here, and they're one use each at the moment. So they all do stuff differently. The idea is that you can get a slow, safe one, or fast, unsafe one. And when I mean unsafe, it's not really unsafe. They require more attention. So occasionally stuff will pop up on the screen saying, oh, if you don't click it in a minute, it stops hacking. You've got to click it. And that will happen more often with the faster, hacky, not official ones. But you can get lots of different ones. So this is a cheap one. Waseko. This is probably inefficient and slow, but we can get like the more expensive ones. The Ripper being the best one, in my opinion. It's pretty quick, and you still need to press continue a lot. But there's the Tiger's Claw one is slower, but you only need to like press continue once. So let us grab Ripper. And these can be equipped into your 4 slot. Let's grab a couple of them. Into your utility slot, basically. And then you can hack down a Comaray or Polisar and some other places as well. And I'll talk more about that once it's all confirmed properly. How do you feel about your relationship with the PvP community? Have you heard of Angels of the Warp? Yes, I'm part of their Discord. I haven't really engaged much in learning to fly super competitively or anything yet because I don't really see a reason to. I'll get more and more into it, I promise. Like, it's something I have to cover. It's something I need to know. I need to know the meta. I need to be able to make guides on that. But I'll probably... there's always going to be people significantly better than me at the game. So I'll just get some advisors from lots of different sort of like organisations like that and chat to them and liaise with them before I make videos on guides and stuff. Do you think we'll get personal armor that has like personal shields? I don't know. You are going to be able to have the Joker, whatever it is. There are going to be personal shields that you can put in front of you that project a shield. Get into your ship. Does it spaz up about 50 meters in the air? It shouldn't. Let's grab the Gladius out. Do a little fly around with the Gladius very quickly, and then we'll grab maybe the something else out. How do you think CIG will handle battles with Vandal in the persistent universe? Do you think you're about to join the UEE fleet? I think there'll be lots of different... Where the fuck have I come? I wasn't paying attention. I think there'll be lots of different missions and stuff like that to go into Vandal territory. They're still trying to work out exactly what sort of presence the UEE will have in the game in the persistent universe. They talked about that a while ago. I'd expect large-scale battles, though, and potentially being able to join some of those in some ways, even if they're not player-initiated.
Tricksy little hobbitses.
No, I don't think we'll have Borg-type personal armor. Although, I mean, it's potential. There is potential that some armor pieces, or maybe they could have personal shields, potentially. And they could do it if they wanted to. Can I have your graphics card when you get rid of it? No. Yes, the buyback tokens were attributed today. Press R to light ready. So this is the new HUD, which is currently being trialed in the Gladius. It starts off in quantum mode for some reason, so you have to press B to get out of it. But you can see here, there's a load of stuff going on at a glance. It tells me if my landing gear is up or down, and the bottom center. It tells me what targeting mode I'm on. It's got how many Gs I'm going at. It's got my thruster power throttle, which is right alt and mouse wheel, which affect the amount of thrust going to my thrusters. It's got the thingamajig, the velocity control here as well, cruise control arrow. I really like it because at a glance you can see so much stuff. Hydrogen fuel there as well, and we can see that hydrogen fuel is used just constantly now, not just with using Afterburner or anything, although it is used faster with Afterburner, admittedly. We've got the quantum fuel as well as a number, as a percentage. But I really like this. I think this is really useful. I actually like the colouring in here as well. I really like this HUD. I don't know which way Grimhex is. I've literally become super disorientated. There it is. Got really confused there. No, I don't think that snubs should have quantum quantum engines. I'm okay with the 85X being a shuttle rather than a snub, technically. But this Just going to grab the Cutlass Black out. And we'll go to yellow, like I just did in the video. I'll just very, very briefly look at the... Actually, we'll just stay around Grimhex, fuck it. We can stay on the landing pads. And I can dash off and get some food. Yeah, so they're cleaning up all the HUDs and UIs for the game. They're trying to make them Squadron 42 and like final HUD and UI ready, I suppose. So they're getting all that done at the moment as well. They had a lot of reworks and a lot of redone work for Star Citizen, which is annoying when it comes to wanting to get the game out as soon as possible. I think that we all would have liked to have seen more progress on a large amount of the game. But it is what it is. Star Citizen progress is slow, but they are building something hopefully quite epic and amazing. Per law, Vandal are feared and their ships are lethal. Why Vandal ships are pretty bad if compared to human ships? Vandal are about 100 years behind human tech, aren't they? So they're not awful compared to human ships, but just human military ships sort of wreck them. The way I understood it. And when it comes to like their light fighters and media and sort of like the sides and stuff. But there's a lot more Vandal. A lot more. I'm hoping that some of the battles will be pretty hard. At the moment, we've only seen quite derpy AI. So I remember in 2.6.3, the Pirates Swarm used to be interestingly difficult. It wasn't like walkover. Yeah, I'm hoping that we get full customizable HUDs, which I suspect we will when it comes to colors and some elements of it. Come on. Oh. Have you still dropped my ship somewhere?
We apologize for any inconvenience. Please try again later, or select a different ship.
Have I broken it? Menu. To fly around with the Cutlass a bit and look at the engines pointing down with VTOL. Do you expect there to be a third-person camera for flying and FPS combat? I'm expecting... So, potentially, but what I would expect when it comes to... Don't worry about my face changing like that. It's just, you know, bugs. Ah! Got a bad token, that's right. Bear with me 1 second. I would expect if we're having third-person camera in the full game, there'll be like a drone or a reason that you can have third-person camera and you just not be able to just do it for like, you know, wall peeking or whatever. So I'd be cool with it if there's a reason to have third-person cameras. They do want to have the ground visualization camera again for landing, like on planets as well now as landing pads. So that's going to be pretty cool. Oh, my face didn't change. Is it still bad tokening? We might be done. See if we can load in. Do buybacks tokens stack? No, you can have 1 buyback token once every 3 months. They've just been reallocated today, and then in 3 months' time, you'll get another one whether or not you've used it. But you can only have 1, so you get another one. Up to a maximum of 1. Do you think that the 805X is a weird choice for the A90 Jump as a shuttle vessel? No. Imagine a different, more luxurious ship. The passenger liner itself is luxurious. The 805X is pretty luxurious for a snub, because it's become a shuttle now and it's got a quantum. Will there be a finite number of Vandal possible to exterminate? I suspect no. I suspect there won't be finite. I suspect at any given time there will be a simulated amount, sort of, with at least probability volumes and things. So they can work out when you're in quantum travel or when you're in Vandal space, what's the likelihood that you'll get attacked and interdicted and stumble upon them and stuff like that. So there's multiple levels of simulation that Tony Zerovic talked about in last year's CitizenCon. And the probability volumes and sort of like representing populations and types of ship and stuff in the area. They're not physicalized until they need to be physicalized, and you might happen upon them, you might not. Think. We'll try one more time. Cool, the stream. I wanted to do a little tiny bit of, just a little bit of showing off the Cutlass Black. Just the HUD. This is the reason I don't do Star Citizen gameplay much, specifically stream-wise, because it can just go down, or the servers can go down, or it can be broken, or it can be crashy and buggy. So I'm hoping that 3.6 is significantly more playable, like 3.4 was. Oh, looks like it might be good. Are you using the correct launcher? Yes. Now, both launchers are now in one. What's the buyback token specifically? So when you add a ship, you can buy back that ship at any time. However, you can only buy that ship back with real money. However, once per every 3 months, you can buy back a ship that you've previously melted with store credits using a token, one of these buyback tokens. That's basically it. Camera focus is a tad off. It would take me too long to fix it now, but thank you. I might have actually had it on autofocus this time. Typically, I don't. You right? Were you just trapped in here until I let you out? Yeah? Oh? Okay, well, he's okay. When I get into the Cutlass Black, and what we'll do is just show off the HOV engines before calling it a day. Bam. We'll sort out the webcam, because people... Bloody vultures wanting me to... Oh wow, I am really blurry. Why didn't you say? Lululul. So it's probably just autofocus. Silly monkey. There we go. Typically I turn that off. Apologise for not doing it. No, let me out! Do you think the likelihood... Well, I don't know. What do you think is the likelihood of us having an orb or drone where we deploy that connects into our HUD and that shows us third-person view? Yeah, I mean, something like that. Third-person drone or camera or something like that sort of makes sense to me. Just want to show off the VTOL sort of like around the landing pads here. Don't worry about my broken legs. That's only natural. Bam. Once we start up the Cutlass, you'll notice its engines will face downwards, and it will get some VTOLs. It'll get the hover mode stuff going on. But
Tricksy little hobbitses.
well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for all the Twitch primes and the subs. I love you. That's very much appreciated. Yeah, it was my face was blurry to protect you from the way I look. You see, thrusters on my Cutlass are pointing downwards, which is cool. But some ships that have turnable thrusters, or that look like they can have turnable thrusters, will get worked to make them turnable for VTOL. The Freelancer, for example, isn't probably appropriate for that because its engines are too long, and they would, with its rework, they wouldn't work properly. It would get in the way of like the landing gear and stuff. But once we get above a certain level, once we're outside of the gravity of the landing pad, we go out of HOV mode, or once we go into to a certain speed. So we are now this close. We're back in HOV mode. As we get to a certain speed, we come out of hover mode. Put the landing gear away. But hover mode, since I've got used to the power throttle for, see that on the right, that's literally my thruster power throttle. So I got used to that. I can land a lot better. That gives you a lot more precision when it comes to moving with the velocity control as well. Why is my hydrogen... oh, I must have used it a lot and not noticed. My landing gear out. Yes, it is. It's now, when I hold control, I'll go down very slowly. Or not. Oh, so I'm pressing space, but I can't get any lift. And that's because I don't have enough power going into my thrusters. So if I'll have to put like above 40-ish before I can actually get lift. Or maybe above 30. Which is interesting. There's a lot going on now with the power throttle for that. But basically it's acceleration control. But it's I really like it. I like what they're doing with the flight model. You can't blame the flight model for the poor combat in game at the moment. Poor combat is to do with balancing server problems, AI problems, all that sort of stuff. Jitter. Oh, well, didn't want me flying around. It hates me. I'm a bit out of the loop. What is all this with VTOL talk? Are they revamping every ship to have VTOL? So, don't worry about the blood loss. It's all good. We're fine. So in 3.6, which is currently on the PTU, there's VTOL and hover added to the flight model, which basically means any ship that is going below a certain speed in gravity will go into VTOL mode and use most of its thrust basically being pointed downwards, or all of its thrust being pointed downwards, and it will act more like a helicopter. Ships with large rotatable engines will put those engines downwards to get to be used for VTOL. That's the idea of it. And your ship acts more like a helicopter, so you point forward, goes like that, you point back, goes like that. You can roll left and right, and when you turn, you'll probably want to turn like that rather than left and right. But once they sort of like get it working a bit better, a bit sort of like quality of life, if they get the toggle in there and things like that, I think it'll work a lot better. At the moment, it's a bit, a bit silly. But I like the idea of it. Sort of. Yeah, nice jump will add lots of streamer content. I mean, I'm hoping so. I've got one, so. But yeah, so I'm hoping with 3.6 we'll get a lot more gameplay streams done. But I'm liking the idea then. We'll do a regular early morning breakfast club stream. And then I can get work done at the same time as just chatting to people. And then maybe we'll just do some more gameplay streams at the sort of like this sort of time on Monday and Friday. Yeah. So with other mode, do you think there'll be any chance of flying under the radar? Yeah. There'll definitely be. The closer you are to ground, I suspect the more under the radar you'd be. And you might be able to use features and land and stuff like that to obscure your signal. I'm almost certain that there's going to be an element of that to atmospheric flying. Yeah, right. I am going to go and host someone, and then I am going to go for dinner. Who is around at the moment? Is G streaming? No, G is not streaming. So, let's see who else is streaming on the Star Citizens. Got a German streamer, a French streamer. Got anyone new? Haven't seen before. Lots of non-English language channels, foreign channels. We'll go and host Darge, Dargenator, because I love him and I haven't seen him for ages. So give that man some love. I love you very much, guys. We will do proper gameplay streams much more often with 3.6 live and play with people, and probably phase the AMA sort of stuff out into the mornings and have gameplay in the evenings instead. I think that's probably quite a good idea. You love you guys. You're the fucking best. Chicken Lips, thank you very much for the host. The sub for the love. I love you. You're the best. You're one of the best. You're top tier. Make sure I haven't missed anyone. Thank everyone that joined me today. It's very much appreciated. Vamprist, I love you. Who else do I love? Dominus, he resubscribed, I didn't mention. You're a legend. Holasis, Hulas, thank you very much for the sub as well. AG, you are fucking legendary for ridiculous amount of money donated today. Shite, you always get a lot of love. Perfect username as well. And John, you're amazing as well. I mean, you gave me a bollock ton of money. Oh, stars, you're all legends. You're lovely. I love you. We are going to go and host Darge though. Slash raid Darge. Yeah, I hope you've had fun. I hope you had some of your questions answered. And I hope there's be a lot more in the future. Maybe. Who knows? You're the best. Kisses.